Hey everybody, my name is Jason Rodriguez and I am with the World Impact Collective. Today I want to bring to you and share with you what I believe is the key to unlocking your potential. Okay, we all have potential. That's the capacity that we have within ourselves to do more, to do greater, to do bigger things in our life that potentially can reach out and touch and change the world. So I want to share today what I believe could very well be the key for you to take that potential that you have inside of you and to unlock it and to unleash it so that you can begin living the life that you know inside of you, that you know and you realize that you were created for, that you were destined to live. So let me share this. Let me share with you some stories. Let me share with you some of the information that I've come across that I believe will be very, very important in understanding. And as you understand this, as you begin to grasp and take hold of the information that I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to ask you at the end, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you to take 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, alone to sit down and to think about and to dwell on what we talk about today, because that is going to, again, it's going to unleash that power within you to go out and to make a difference and to make a change and transform, literally transform your life as you begin to realize and understand how it is that you are the way that you are, and to be able to determine and see what it is that you want to be and how you can become that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today, and it all starts and it begins with what I call the 6 basic human needs. And I'm not talking about water, I'm not talking about food, I'm not talking about air. Okay, I'm talking, I guess, a more maybe more emotional, less tangible needs. But yet very, very real needs. As a matter of fact, these things drive us. These things compel us. These things are exactly what shape us into the people that we are today. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So the first of these 6 needs is the need for certainty. Okay, the need for certainty. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, well, if you, like me, have ever experienced a job where you basically are able to go to this job, you do your work, and at the end of the week you get a paycheck, right? And you know, because you have designed your life in such a way that you make X amount of dollars every single week, and you've got 4 or 5 weeks in a month, and you know that at the end of the month you've got this amount of dollars, and that with that amount of dollars you can pay this in rent, you can pay this in gas for your car, you can pay this in insurance, you can pay this for food, and everything you need is taken care of. You have enough, just enough, right? Just barely enough, but you have enough to make it. Okay, and so we take a great deal of, what do we get from that? A great deal of certainty. Okay, we feel very confident in that. We feel very certain that if I go to work, I'm going to make a paycheck at the end of the week, and I'm going to be able to pay for these things. I'm going to be able to exist. I'm going to be able to live. Everything is going to be okay. Okay, we have great and tremendous amount of certainty in this. Now, what happens when you lose that job? What happens when you get that pink slip at work and that source of certainty is no longer there? Okay, how do you feel? Come on, probably all of us have experienced this. You feel a tremendous amount of the opposite of certainty, uncertainty. This tremendous amount of uncertainty that now you're wondering, am I going to be okay? Am I going to survive? Am I going to be able to pay the bills? Am I going to be able to put food on the table? Am I going to be able to support my family? This is what starts to be what we start thinking. We get this sense of fear because of the uncertainty that comes from losing a job. So certainty for many of us is very, very important. I'll say that in my life, the idea and concept of certainty is very important to me. So anyway, so that's one human need that we all share, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what your background is. All across the world today, we have the need for certainty in our lives. Okay? Now the second human need, and this will be very, very interesting, I think, to many of you. The second human need that we have is uncertainty. Okay, that very thing that I just used as a negative example of how it can disrupt your life when at odds with certainty is also one of the basic needs that each and every one of us have. We have a need for uncertainty. And what do I mean by that? What does uncertainty look like? Well, it's the need for variety. It's the need for change, and that change, it makes us feel alive, right? It makes us feel alive. How many of us have gotten, at some point in our life, we've gotten into a routine. I'll go back to the job example. We've gotten to a routine. Maybe we've been at our job for a year or two, and it's just something that is now, at this point, natural to us. We're able to go about our business on a daily basis without giving a whole lot of thought to it. It's just very, very natural, very, very easy for us. We're able to do our job tremendously and easily. Well, what tends to happen in a situation like that? Well, if you're anything like me, what tends to happen is that we begin to get bored. We begin to show up to work and we're like, oh boy, I got another day of doing this, of doing that, of doing this, of talking to this customer. Just another day of ho-hum boredom. Right? We get bored because we're so certain. We get bored because we're in such a routine that nothing ever changes. And so what we need in our life is that we need to introduce some uncertainty. And so what do? In the job situation, we apply for perhaps a different position. Now, many of us, we don't want so much uncertainty that we're going to step out and go looking for a job at a completely different company. But what we'll do is we'll take that small step and apply for an internal transfer. And so we get moved into perhaps a different department, or perhaps we get a promotion, or perhaps we slide over and do something a little bit different, but it just changes things just enough that it satisfies for us that need for uncertainty, that need for change, for variety in our life. We all experience this. So we've got certainty, we've got uncertainty, and then thirdly, we have significance. And that is the desire or the need to feel unique, to feel special, to feel important. This is a basic human desire that each and every one of us look in some way to meet. That desire to be significant, that desire for us to feel important, to feel significant. Okay? Think about that. Think about how that looks in your life. Think about how you feel significant. Where is it that you go? What is it that you do where you feel significant? Perhaps it's in an organization like a church. Perhaps you go to a church and maybe you're the head of the Sunday school department, or maybe you're the head usher. Perhaps you're involved with your kids in Little League or in softball, and you participate in perhaps you participate on the board for that organization, and you get a sense of significance, a feeling of importance. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. This is a need that each and every one of us have. I have it, you have it. Regardless of where we're at, regardless of where we're coming from, we all have that need to feel significant. So think about, where do you find that? Where do you fulfill that need in your life right now? Okay, so certainty, uncertainty, significance, and then the fourth one is love and connection. Okay, we have this need to give and to receive affection, to give and receive support from people, to be accepted for who we are, be accepted as we are, right? Now, okay, that's an easy one, but let me show you something. Because one of the things that we're talking about in all of this is not just the needs, but it's also the entire blueprint of our lives. Okay, you and I, we have a picture in our mind over here that this is what we want for our lives. This is the picture of what we want. And then over here is the reality of what we are. Right? This is the reality of what we are currently living and what we're currently experiencing. And so many times, very often, there's a difference, there's a gap between where we want to be and where we are. And that difference is the difference in what I call our blueprint. It's in the way that our lives have been conditioned. It's through the choices that we have made and determined about how we're going to live our lives that determines where we are. Okay? We have gotten right here where we are today through the choices and decisions that we have made based on the blueprint that we have created for our lives. Okay, so we see with this issue of love and connection that we all want to be loved. We all want to feel this connection. Interesting example. Okay, we've all seen this. Maybe you haven't experienced this personally, but we all know somebody that has. Somebody that you might say has been unlucky in love. Okay, this young woman or young man has a desire. They state a desire to be in a relationship. They want to be in love. They want to experience love. They want to give love. They want to receive love. And yet, they're not in a relationship. Now, maybe they've been in a relationship. I bet you they have. Okay? I bet you they have. I bet you at some point they've been in a relationship, they were madly in love, and then what happened? That person that they were in a relationship with didn't feel the same way. So here you are, madly in love, passionately in love, with somebody that doesn't feel the same way about you. And so what happens is that person breaks up with you, that person leaves you, that person breaks your heart, and then now you experience this tremendous amount of pain. First you've got love, then you've got pain. And your body remembers this. It's just like, it's just like the analogy of touching the stove, right? You touch a hot stove and your body instantaneously reacts to that and it pulls your hand away. And guess what? It remembers. Your hand, your mind, your body, it remembers. Do not touch the stinking stove when it's hot. Don't put your hand in the fire. Your body remembers that. It saves that information for next time to do what? To protect you. Well, it does the same thing emotionally. With love, you get in a relationship, you're in love, you feel good, your heart is broken, and your body remembers that. It remembers or associates that feeling of love with brokenheartedness. First comes love, then comes brokenheartedness. And so you get into this pattern, right? And so that person that says they want to be in love, says they want to be in a relationship, what happens is that they've experienced this in the past, and so then the next time they get into a relationship, maybe they've been in a relationship for a month or 2 months now, and they're getting to that point where, man, things are really going good. I'm starting to feel really good about this relationship and where it's headed. And then what happens? They begin to sabotage it. They begin to sabotage that very relationship because unbeknownst to them, it may not be conscious, but unbeknownst to them, their body remembers. First came love, then came heartache. First came love, then came pain. And so they begin to sabotage that relationship. And that person cannot be in a strong relationship, strong, loving relationship for the long term because their body remembers the way that it felt and it protects you. In order to protect you from pain, it breaks down that relationship. But that's a basic need that we all have, is that that need for love and connection. Interesting though, isn't that the way that our blueprint conflicts sometimes with what it is that we want? All right, so then the fifth thing is growth. It's to become more, to break through stagnation. We either grow or we die, right? We either grow or we die. So we have this desire inside of us to grow. What happens with that though? Depending on the way that your blueprint is, okay, if you want to grow and you have this desire to grow, you have this desire to be greater than you are, you have this desire to do more than what you're doing, you have this desire to progress because you're driven for, wanting to be significant. Okay, you want to reach significance. So in order to reach significance, you decide, I got to grow. Okay, but then what? What if your blueprint indicates or dictates your need for certainty? Perhaps your need for certainty is greater than your desire for significance, your desire for growth. And so what will happen? You start to grow, but the only way you're going to grow, the only way you're going to achieve significance, right, is if you grow. And the only way that you're going to grow is if you step outside of certainty. If you step outside of that which you know and into an uncharted territory, into something new. You can't grow in something you're familiar with, something that you know already. You got to grow into an area that you aren't familiar with. You got to grow into an area where you're not certain. And so if your fear of uncertainty is greater than your desire for growth, you're not going to grow. And so you're going to be at odds with yourself. You're going to be at odds internally with yourself. You're going to have that desire. It's not going away. You're going to have that desire for growth. You're going to have that desire to grow. But the fear of uncertainty will hold you back. Okay? And then sixthly is the need for contribution. It's the need to give that we have to give beyond ourselves. It's the need that we have to contribute to the world on a larger scale. It's the need that we have to contribute to our communities, to contribute to the world at large. It's the need that we have inside ourselves that push us to do greater things. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter if you're working a part-time job at McDonald's. You've got that feeling inside of you that I am greater than this. I have been created for more than this. I can contribute more. It doesn't matter if you're there or if you're the CEO of your own corporation. Okay, this is a need that we all have, is this desire, this need to contribute. So friends, today, as the trash truck drives by, give me just a second. Sorry, it's actually a nice cool day outside. It's a spring day, so I've got the windows open. Trash day, so the trash trucks are driving by. But anyway, so we have this need for contribution, this need to contribute to our world and to make our lives count for something. It goes hand in hand, right, with significance. It goes hand in hand with growth, okay? But what's holding many, many of us back is that the blueprint that we have created for our lives is at odds with each other. The different needs are at odds with each other. And so here's what I want you to do today. Here's what I need you to do. If you are going to make a breakthrough, if you are going to unleash that power that is within you to change the world, that power that is within you to make a difference, that power that is within you to rise up and to be great, to do great things, then here's what I need you to do. Take 5 minutes. Stop and take 5 minutes right now. And I want you to consider, what is it that I do that makes me happiest? What am I doing that brings most satisfaction to my life? Okay? What makes you happy? Okay, and then begin to break it down. Ask yourself this question: why does that make me happy? What is it about this situation that makes me happy? Maybe it's a relationship that you're in. What is it that you're getting in this relationship that is making you happy, that is making you most satisfied? Okay, maybe it comes from your job. Maybe it comes from what you do for a living. What is it about that that makes you happy? Which of your needs are being met by that job or that thing that contributes to you being happy? Okay? Then you can think about, what is it that makes me unhappy? What are the things in your life right now where you are unhappy? And do the same thing with that. Why? What is it that makes you unhappy? What is it about that situation, about that activity that makes you unhappy? Which of those needs are not being met? Where's there the conflict? Identify that. Okay, and then I want you to think and answer this question. What is it that life is ultimately about for you? What is life about? What is life all about for you? Okay? What is it? Describe that. Now, what has to happen? What has to happen in order for your life to be that way? Okay? What has to happen? What do you have to do? What do other people have to do? In order for you to feel loved in a relationship, what is it that other people have to do? Okay, we all make rules. We all create rules for ourselves. And the funny thing is that we don't ever share these rules with anybody else. If you're in a relationship, you need to share your rules with the person you're in a relationship with. Right? You got to do that. My wife is great at sharing her rules. I am not so great at following through and doing what she needs, you know. But anyhow, listen, folks. The reason I bring this to you today is because I believe here at the World Impact Collective, we bring inspiring stories. We bring stories of people that are out there in the world doing things, making a difference, that are to inspire you, right? Okay, but many of us don't understand what it is that's holding us back. All we know is that when we start to progress and when we start to make things happen, we hit a wall. Why is that? Well, it's all because it all goes back to the way of our blueprint. It all goes back to the way that we have designed our lives. Okay, for many of us, we have not designed our lives. We have not chosen to live the way that we're living. We end up doing it because it's how we're conditioned. We end up doing it because of the different influences in our lives that have caused us pain at different times, and so we've reacted to that, and we remember that. Now it's just automatic. It's not something we think about. We don't think about that hand on the stove. It's just automatic. Well, that has happened in other areas of our life. Think about the times that you have been caused pain. I'm not going to go into this right now, but this weekend I was driving. Anytime I get any time in the car, okay, a significant amount of time in the car where I can be alone and have some quiet time, man, this brain of mine gets to thinking. I got thinking back this weekend and was able to uncover something in my past, right? I went clear back to junior high and realized how a situation in my life that happened in junior high, which, by the way, I completely blew out of proportion in my mind, but how that one situation affected my life, okay? How it affected my life to such a degree that it literally affected exactly what I did the next year. Made a drastic change, big decision in my life at the end of 7th grade that affected me in 8th grade because of the pain associated with what happened in 7th grade. Okay, now that pain continued on to the point that it nearly affected the decision that I made about which high school to go to. Okay, fortunately, well, I don't know that it would have mattered, but the pain had subsided enough by the time that I was going into high school that I was kind of on the fence, and I decided to go one way versus the other way, which would have been motivated by that pain. I had never thought about this. I'd never realized this. I'd never really broken this down, deconstructed what had happened at that point in my life to understand how that pain had really changed me. And this affected me up to as far as I could think of about a year to a year and a half ago. Something happened where a guy basically called me stupid. Okay, that's what I heard anyway. What I heard was this guy calling me stupid. And I literally jumped up, threw myself across the table, grabbed this guy by the throat, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't tell this story. It's going to ruin your image of me, right? No, it was crazy because I am not a violent person. But this being called, in my mind, what I heard was this guy calling me stupid. And that triggered in me a reaction. That triggered in me these... That literally triggered in me an instantaneous flash of emotion and adrenaline that made me react. And it all goes back. It all goes back to this pain that I was caused in 7th grade and associating that pain with being called stupid. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that fascinating? It was absolutely fascinating to me. But guess what? Understanding that now gives me control, gives me the ability to reshape and direct my life. And that's what I want to empower you with today. That's what I hope you get out of this, is the ability to look back on your life, identify the 6 needs that we all have, and you need to identify which of these are most important to you in actuality, okay? The picture of your life that you want compared to the picture of your life that you literally have today. There's a difference there, isn't there? There's a chasm. Hold on a second. There's a difference there. And in order to bridge that gap, you've got to identify what it is you want, and you've got to identify where it is you are in order to bridge that gap. And the way that you're going to do that is by identifying how you are in regards to the need for certainty, the need for uncertainty, the need for significance, the need for love and connection, the need for growth, and the need for contribution. You can arrange these needs in any way that you want, but you need to identify the way that they are currently arranged. Which one is currently most important? Okay? Which need is it that you have right now that is most important, that is driving you or that is holding you back. Okay, because it'll do that too. If your need for certainty, like me, I have this tremendous need for certainty in my life, and it will hold me back from growth. It'll hold me back from contribution at times, okay? So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of these needs. They're needs. We got them, whether we want them or not. But the priority that we place upon them will dramatically influence and change our lives. So you want to take back control of your life, understand these needs and how you relate to them, and then rearrange them in the way that you need to rearrange them so that you can accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. Friends, I want to encourage you today, live with passion. Go out. You have the key now to unlock that passion and change in your life so that you can go out and be the person that you want to be. You don't have to be held back anymore, because today I've given you the key to unlock that potential for you to go out and to contribute and to grow and to be significant and to have certainty that you're going to do that. Make a difference, friend. My name is Jason Rodriguez. I'm with the World Impact Collective. And again, I just want to encourage you. Go and live your life with passion today. And until next time, have a great day. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.